Okay. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for coming. Medical Lake Community Meeting addressing the Gray Road Fire Recovery. The attendance has been great. It's down a little bit tonight, and I hope that means that people are getting the help they need and things are moving forward. So we have a few announcements. First of all, I want to welcome all of you. And is there anybody from the chaplains, Spokane County chaplains, pastor? No. Then I'm going to open in prayer. I'll do their job. Lord, we invite you into this meeting. We pray it will be productive. We pray that you will help people to get the things that they need and to hear the message that's being shared tonight, that they will understand how that can help them move forward, and that we will have the ability to communicate in words that can be understood and are helpful. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you. So updates. We have tree removal and some other things. We'll get that one second. In fact, I want to start off with Ben from Avista. He's going to update us on what Avista is doing. You probably have seen, if you've been out on the south end of town by Waterfront, a lot of activity going on there. So Ben, why don't you come on up? You can step on the magic dot here and give us an update. Thank you. You have to really put the mic up. It's not
okay. Good evening, everyone. I'll give you a general update as to where we're at with Avista's cleanup operations. I think, as many of you know, we've been trying to get our letters out to get authorization from landowners to verify where we want to, where folks want to have us perform cleanup operations. We've been working with the city and we've identified that waterfront park area as an operations landing. And it's kind of the ideal spot for us to get started, to mobilize the equipment, get a staging area built, and to start to make an impact. While we're cleaning up kind of that community area there, we have 3 utility foresters that are going through the area, identifying any remaining trees that need to be felled to protect the overhead electrical facilities. And then we'll be mobilizing into those neighborhood areas to start doing the cleanup operation itself. And so, you know, what we're trying to do is identify dense areas where folks have committed to the fact that they want us to clean up, and then we'll start in those areas first. You know, I think if you've not seen the operation itself, it's large equipment. And so that may help you to understand why we're asking that the tree debris stay intact. In order to scale an operation of this size and to get it done quickly, we need to bring in big equipment. If we use smaller equipment, we wouldn't be able to source that type of equipment and that number of contractors. So this is a way we can get this project done quickly.
perfect.
Any questions?
So can you please tell me, so I want to get it back out my property, right? And I mean, my home was totally destroyed, but I would like to know who I need to call or get information from, to where I can get power from. This has been really great on my road. They've got all new power poles up and all that, but I need power to my property. And like the meter that was in front of my house, I mean, that was right as well. So would like to contact that.
Yeah, that same 1-800 number that's provided in the letter for authorization, that's our customer service number. And that's really, you know, I know probably don't want to hear a 1-800 number, but that's the best way you can go through Avista to access whatever services you're looking for. You know, our customer service representatives, they're gonna be able to speak to your specific needs and your situation and get you set up with, you know, the person or the entity you need to deal with. And in this case, it's electric ops. You know, for me, I'm focused on trees and I want to make sure you get connected. So that 1-800 number is probably the very best way you could go about getting connected with who you need to. Okay.
After last week, I gotta say, I mean, they came with my property, it was all about the trees last week. And they were spot on, they came out, took a look at what I had. And now it's just kind of like a waiting process, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, we appreciate your patience. I mean, if you can imagine, I mean, we know everybody needs to get done and everybody needs to get done as soon as possible. And again, that speaks to the way we've scaled the operation. By bringing in that contractor with that big piece of equipment and that capacity, I think you're gonna see it move very quickly through the cleanup, you know, through that operation itself. What we're trying to do, and again, you know, this is a moving target for us. We don't normally manage this type of a cleanup operation. But what we're trying to do is move from sort of the tightest areas of very limited access and get those done first. Because we're anticipating that, you know, at some point the weather will change and then we'll have to deal with some of those other issues. And so, you know, what we're trying to target is some of that area along Freeman and where the Bible camp is. And then we're kind of spreading out from those areas. But again, you know, this is a moving target for us and we're adjusting accordingly, but that's kind of our operations plan now. Yes, sir.
I heard you say that you would prefer trees to be left intact. So question, if we have a logger come that's willing to take the tree and limb it, then that tree was felled by Avista's crews. Okay, the tree is gone, that's all I care about, but what about all the limbs? Is Avista gonna take care of it?
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, I'll repeat the question. The question was, if there was an Avista tree that was felled and then a person had a logger come in and take that tree and then the loggers trim the limbs off and so the limbs are left, the brush is left and the tree is gone, is Avista going to take care of that? The answer is no, because you have elected not to use Avista, you've elected to do something else. But the good news is in that situation, we have Team Rubicon has been here. And then also we're gonna have waves of volunteer groups that come in and the gentleman, you'll hear more in just a minute, are putting together a plan to come back through and chip the brush. So the thing to remember is Avista didn't have an obligation to do this. City of Medical Lake didn't have an obligation to try to put this together. All the volunteers that are coordinating the chipping so that all the debris, you know, is cleaned up as best that it can be before that, you know, the snow comes. None of this is obligatory. It is to help. And so, yeah, there's lists and there's going to be little weights, but there's a plan. And a lot of really smart people are working on the plan. And so, but if you choose, the trees are yours. And so if you choose, if you want Avista will come through, you might have trees that weren't felled by Avista. Avista may not take those. So work with this committee that we have set up so that we can address all of the tree removal issues. Any other questions for Avista?
Yeah. What about the stuff when they cut down the poles that were burnt and all the wire that was taken off? Is that going to be removed?
The question is, what about the power poles that were cut and the wires that are on the ground? Will those be removed?
Yeah, again, you know, that's an operations question and excuse me.
Stand over here.
Yeah.
People online could see.
Yeah, so if there's debris on your site that's from Avista, again, that 1-800 number, right? If you can imagine in the operations, things get left, right? And there are things that we keep track of And then there are things that, as I said, poles, sometimes folks use poles and it may have just been neglected or just forgotten about and didn't get documented. A lot of that's true with the tree removal itself. We're just responding, and trying to address the urgency of getting the power back up. There's the other thing to keep in mind, it's kind of like trees that were dropped. Remember, there are communications facilities. I've seen them on the ground, wire that's on the ground, and so Avista does not manage those communication facilities. Those will be the other entities that do manage those assets. They'll be the ones that'll be responsible for reclaiming those things. Any other questions? Thanks, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yes, a little round of applause. This has been amazing, responsive and present. So we appreciate all your work. I want to hear from Ron Burris. He is heading up the team who is working on the tree removal, segueing into debris removal. And there are a lot of moving parts right now and a lot of things are changing. I also will have CJ Gribble come up. She's with Team Rubicon. I would like her to give us a report on their work and future plans. And they have done a fantastic job as well. So do you want CJ to go first?
Let me start. Then
Okay, so Ron Burris, R&R Construction, and it was on his heart to head up this effort to clean up the trees. So he also deserves a round of applause. We put in a lot of time.
Thank you. So we're going to give you a status tonight of where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going.
Very good.
So this last Saturday, Team Rubicon did get started, and they have been working tirelessly all week. I was down over the weekend. I made an afternoon trip in the other day. Every place I look, I'd see Team Rubicon crews. So big thank you to them for coming in for the week. I'm gonna let CJ describe how many lots, properties that they've got to and what they've got accomplished.
Thank you. First, I want to thank all of you because you've been so kind and so welcoming. People have been welcoming in the grocery store. People have actually stopped me on the street and said, you guys will be here to my house soon, and I really appreciate that. So this has been a challenging pleasure for us. We have been very grateful to be here, and probably the most gratitude goes to the Silver Lake Bible Camp, because we are tent and sleeping bag kind of people. And when we've had new people, I've warned them and said, don't get used to this. This is not how it's going to be. So very, very grateful to the community for being so welcoming and so kind to us. I'm sorry, I have to put on my glasses. I'm old. All right, so far we have worked, we started, as Ron noted, last Saturday with full-time work, and we have worked 427 hours. Our folks get up at 6, eat breakfast at 6:30, and get out the door with all of their equipment by 8. And I make them pack their lunch. They don't get to stop for lunch. So they pack their lunch, and then they are back cleaning up all of their equipment so it's ready to go out the next day. So they have to clean up all of their saws and resharpen saws. And you are people who understand this. I know you do, that working in burnt wood means you're sharpening your saws all day long, and they are quite filthy. And Kay will attest to the fact that I have a sign on the door saying boots off. And people come in and I say, out, like, sort of like a grandmother I am, you out, you can't be in here. We are about 50% done with the site surveys we did and the people we contacted. And the reason we're behind is, of course, the chipper. I think all of us have been educated here about chippers, and the chipper breaks down about twice a day. because we're chipping burnt wood. And it's just a real challenge. People in the community have been really good to us and have come out and worked on the chipper. And again, I'm very grateful to you. We will be here all day tomorrow, trying to clean up places we've had to leave. And my group, you know, because we're Spokane Metro, my group will be back the 21st of this month just to do a service project, just without doing a full operation, so Kay doesn't have to put up with this anymore. Thank you. But we'll just do a drive-in and come back and catch up, and then we'll take a look at what else we can do. Does anybody have questions for me? Yeah,
So when are you guys gonna be done? You're gonna be done soon, you're gonna be pulled off site?
when are we gonna be done?
What? I'm just
When are
curious
you
if
leaving? When are you
it's-
pulling off site?
We will begin demobilizing on Friday, which for us is, you know, we have 6 rental trucks and all of that we have to get back to where we were, and people will need to pack up and leave, and we have to pack up saws, and we got half of our saws out of Montana. So those have to be cleaned up and back, so we'll begin demobilizing Friday.
I guess my question was that I haven't heard back from you.
Can I
so guess
ask
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
be the one that's gonna get.
You can.
Yep, so we have probably 80 people who have signed up, which is wonderful. And so Team Rubicon is not our only resource. So. Usually. I agree. So a phenomenal resource. So the plan that we came up with today is because it's difficult tracking down everybody. You're all working, you have your lives. A lot of you aren't living in the community. And so we have all those. We're going to create a Google map of just addresses. Those will be shared with our volunteers that are going to be coming in to help you. And so we'll be identifying those, and then you will be given a notice saying, we're gonna be in your neighborhood. For example, Saturday from, 8 to 11 or something, be there so that we can have the arborist and whoever else is there cruise your property, find out which trees that you're gonna leave or that you wanna go. We'll mark those trees. And, I guess with the new color of paint, I understand there's several out there now, and we don't know what they mean. But I believe we're using white paint for the removal. But anyway, nonetheless, so that's the plan right now, is that we'll go neighborhood by neighborhood. And so we will be in touch with you so that Google map will be set up with a pin on it. Once you have had somebody visit your property and it's the green light, it'll be changed to green, and then those volunteers can come in and get the trees that have been identified. So questions about that?
Can you say that you will notify us, you will call us, about us or after?
The question is, how will you notify us? So we have both your email address and your phone number. So we will be sending out emails and trying to make phone calls. And as soon as there'll just be push notifications that say, we're going to be in your neighborhood this day from this time to this time. And you need to be there during that time, just like when Home Depot delivers your dryer, you gotta be there. And so that's how it'll work. And if you can't make it that day, that's all right. We'll get you on the next round. So that's how that will work. Question?
Last week? Did we sign up again or are we on the list?
Nope. The question is, if we signed up last week, do we need to sign up again? No, you do not. So, we have all of your information. We're putting that together now. So, this takes a lot of staff time to get that data together and to decide how we're going to communicate that with you. So that's the plan right now. And, I think it'll work. I think it's going to work. And so, and now I'm going to let Ron talk to you about what you might know where we've been and where we are, but I think it's where we're going. And these guys have really put in some hours and some effort. So thanks again, Ron.
Okay, so we heard from CJ of where we were. We originally got together, it was a little over a week ago, and we came up with a plan to work with Team Rubicon. It went okay. We did have a lot of setbacks and whatnot, but so we got together in our Monday committee meeting, and we all kind of had the same agreement. that we're trying to shovel a beach full of sand with a teaspoon. And so we're now shifted focus. We're gonna have to look at a way bigger operation, more similar to what Avista's got going. And the whole premise of this is that we are going to let Avista go through the neighborhoods first. We're gonna let the loggers go through the neighborhoods first. The part with the loggers going through the neighborhoods, what we need you to do as community members, if you have signed up for the free tree removal, if you can go down and get a can of white spray paint, and any tree on your property that you want removed, spray a big white X on it. So that we know and the loggers know that these trees can be cut and removed. We are also going to go through, I'm gonna be doing some of this weekend. We're gonna be going through with the address list. And we're gonna take some lath with some flagging that is pink with black stripes on it. And we're gonna sit one of these in front of your house. If you see this, don't think you've been caught by the asbestos inspector or anything like that. It's just a way for us to tell the loggers, here's one of the houses, the properties that you're looking at. Any of the trees with the white X, take them. When they cut the trees down, they're going to leave the limbs and the tops. Avista is going to leave some stuff. So there is going to be debris left over. And what our plan going forward is that this coming week, we are gonna take a little bit of a step back. We're gonna let Avista get going and hopefully get moved into some of these neighborhoods so that we can see how much is left. At a future point, it's either gonna be the end of this month or the beginning of the following month. We are going to get a volunteer army in here. And that includes all of you. We have had community groups calling us, asking for volunteer opportunities. We have had individuals, we've had businesses. We are gonna take the people and we are gonna go through these lots and we're gonna pick and pile this brush. At the same time, we are working with some large-scale construction companies to try to get donated machinery, as in the form of loaders, dump trucks, side dumps, skidsters, you name it. To bring them in so that we can load this stuff and haul it to one central area. And once we get all this material hauled, then we will bring in a big tub grinder and grind this stuff. Because we could rent 500 chippers and run them for a month. And this tub grinder can eat that in 2 days. So this is the only way we have come to figure out that we are gonna get this sold. But
Yes, I spoke with some of the private contractors that were hauling off the ships, and one of the concerns is we need to rebuild our topsoil. And we've said, hey, why not leave these ships in place so we can fix them
Well,
under and keep hauling off?
so
When it comes to the tub, and I've got a Bearcat chipper, so I know how all this works. Are we gonna be able to access those chips and haul them back on the property and start rebuilding our swales?
that is something that we have not thought of, and we will address that. Where the chips are going, they will be composted. So there is the possibility that when we've got this chip pile here, at some point before it does get completely hauled off, we can say to you, the homeowners, come load your pickup truck and take as much back, but we're not going to have the dump trucks hauling it back down.
No. And I think
let me, one more thing here. So the other thing we need you to do, especially the people that are not in the city limits and served by city sewer, before the loggers come in, if you guys have a drain field or septic, if you could please mark that out with stakes and ribbon of some sort, maybe get a can of marker paint and write on the ground, drain field, just so that everybody knows, this equipment that the loggers are using is heavy and it will damage a septic tank or a drain field. So we don't know where those are. The loggers don't know where they are. So we are trying to locate those so that we know where they're at.
Well, is it best to have one system for that? You want paint or stakes?
Stakes and ribbon is actually the best because a drain field is usually big.
Yep.
So. Question.
Had two trees that were both been cut down, the one is right on top of my septic tank, so, what do you do in that case? I mean, I don't know who's gonna take it, the business is gonna take it.
Does it have a color on it?
I don't, cut it down originally, so.
I don't actually have an answer for you, Ben.
Yes.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm hearing, we did mark a large percentage of our trees, but we did not mark every tree. But for us, remember, we're only cutting trees that were within strike distance of the overhead electrical corridor. And so the way we're approaching the operation is if that tree was tall enough to strike and it's cut down, we're gonna take that tree. We're not parsing out by whether or not there was a mark on that tree. We're gonna assume we cut it down because it was tall enough to strike our facility. So hopefully that, right, we're not interested in counting every individual tree. And we use a piece of software to track the work that we're doing, and that's how we actually managed our fire response. So I think just to reiterate what the mayor said, though, it's really difficult to identify each property owner and try to reach out and figure out, who's who and to make the contact. So that's why we are asking for you to authorize us to do the work, because that helps to confirm, right, that we know that we did cut those trees down on the legal landowner's property before we take them. So, but hopefully that clears that up. Yes, sir.
So I have a lot of trees on my property that are burned, so that's my responsibility to take those down. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Repeat the question.
so the question was, the homeowner has a lot of burnt trees on his property and he was wanting to know if that was his responsibility to take them down. Question to you, how big is your property? Okay, so you're 2 acres or less, so you are the one that, with our loggers coming in, they will take down everything that is timber size that they want. What is left before we do the cleanup, we do have some other volunteer saw groups that we're working with. They will come in and take the rest of those trees and get them down on the ground. And then we will deal with them at a later portion here when we try to do this big cleanup.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's not my main concern really right now. I'm just trying to get an asbestos test.
I can't help you with an asbestos test.
No, but I'm just saying, no, I appreciate what he's having to say.
So I've got more questions.
Okay, I have bird trees. One big one, and then I have little orchards. But I need to have an arborist. Is that how you pronounce it? There to give me a quote of what it all worth so I can give it to the insurance. I haven't gotten calls back at all.
Okay, that's a new question. I have not heard. So the question was, she has trees that are burned. And her insurance company is wanting a cost total for them. Let us write that one down and work on that one. We do have some arborists. We have an arborist in our committee. We do have some other arborists that we're trying to work out or work with. We do realize that we are going to have a small percentage of trees that loggers aren't gonna be able to cut down. Volunteers aren't gonna be able to cut down. We're gonna have to get arborists with a bucket truck or climbing gear or something like that to get them down because we have a standing residence or some other factor that we can't just haul the trees safely.
Do we have anyone from, kind of answer questions for those of us that have.
What was the question?
The question was, do we have anyone from DNR here tonight? And I do not believe we do. Our committee is meeting. We have a DNR representative coming in next week. And we'll be working over some of those issues too. But for the most part, anybody that has over 2 acres of land needs to contact one of the loggers that we have given information with. Some of the loggers will do all of the permitting for you. I don't know the newer group if they're doing any of the permitting for that.
There, the new group is doing the 2 acres or less.
Okay,
And they need a permit to transfer the logs to the mill, but they'll take care of that.
okay, so the new group we have coming in is just doing 2 acres or less.
I do have one quick thing. On DNR, there was a press release that went out yesterday. It had how Medical Lake's trying to coordinate. It also has Vista's official statement on what they're doing, and it has DNR's official statement on what they're doing. DNR, and they're out there on the table. And it says City of Medical Lake press release. And so DNR is advisory. You can call them and they'll come look at your property and they'll tell you that tree's probably going to make it, that tree's not. They'll help you assess the condition of your tree. They have grass seed available and they have a form, and then they also have seedlings that'll be available in 2025. So when you fill out the DNR form, that's what that is for. But there's a phone number there as well. You can call them and DNR will come and help you look at your property, but they're advisory only at this point, and that's their role in this. Yes, sir.
I guess a couple of things missed then. Do we have anybody here apart from DNR? Do we have anybody from the county? Because I appreciate that Medical Lake is heading this up. There are more people impacted outside the city than in our city.
So I do have the answer. Yeah, so he wants to know if anybody other than Medical Lake people are worried about this. So
No, not worried about it. I have a 16-foot county easement across from my property. Somebody already came to mark all the trees. They're not a Vista. It's outside of a Vista's reach. It's not gonna touch power lines. There are trees in that 16-foot easement between the road and the property that have been marked for 6 weeks. Nobody's coming to cut them. They're out legally, they're outside of the property line, so I shouldn't be cutting them. There's liability. One of them's growing about a foot from the road and it's almost.
So these individual things like that,
This is county, not city.
sure. So let me just address one thing first. So yes, so there is a Spokane County Long-Term Recovery Group that has been established. There are people from the Oregon Road Fire. There are people from the Gray Road Fire. So I am the president of that. And then the vice chair is from the Oregon Road Fire. We are working with Spokane County Emergency Management. We're working with the State of Washington Long-Term Recovery advisors who are helping us. And so all of the funding that's coming in from the state, the county, through Innovia, all of that is addressing every person that's been impacted by the fire. So there's 11 people on that board, And so, and each one of those board members heads up a committee in their community. So that is just so you know that, yes, everybody is being, addressed. We have hundreds and hundreds of forms that have come in, and the county emergency management is, marrying those up. And then the Salvation Army has been contracted by the county to address everybody who, has a need, starting with the non-insured, then moving to the underinsured, and then there may be some debris removal or something, some funding that could be available to everyone. That's why we ask everyone to fill out an intake form. And so if you have that issue with, trees, in the county, so of course we're helping the entire county. And so, but if it's county property and it's not private property, then, we can reach out to the county. So let us know. We can look it up on the scout map, see that who owns that parcel, and if it's truly the county, we can let them know. So, those things can be addressed. Yes.
10 acres, our neighbors have 16 acres. So are you saying you're only dealing with 2 acres and smaller?
No, there's 2 operations happening at the same time with the loggers, 2 acres and less, and more than 2 acres. Turley Logging is leading up to 2 acres or more. He will help you get the permit you need. He can come in and log your property if you want him to, or you can contract with somebody else, but he is the salvage logger. He's from Cheney, and that's who we've been working with, locally, so we can help you get that information afterwards. Anything else that any of us could answer?
I got one last one.
Okay,
Okay, so, and God bless you all on Silver Lake, right, by the camp and all that. But I haven't heard anything about Clear Lake. It took out my head, all 5 houses are gone.
right.
Um,
Anyone impacted by the Gray Road fire is being addressed in this meeting. It applies to you. All these resources apply to you. All the tree removal applies to you. And all of the support that will come from the state or county, or nonprofits applies to everyone in the Gray Road fire or the Oregon Road fire. So, yes. Yes, please.
So we did discuss this the other night too. Some of the timber on Clear Lake is a lot smaller timber than what is down around Silver Lake. And we are looking at some different options for down there. Instead of completely hauling that out and removing it, we are looking at some options to grind it up and put it right back onto the soil there. So it's in its infancy. So we have to reach out and find all these resources and stuff that can do this, and then try to figure out exactly what they can do, how much they can do, what it costs, their limitations. So we are working on that. I know right now, the focus has been kind of on the Silver Lake and the city up here, but we have been discussing that, so.
I appreciate that, because that's all I hear is about Silver Lake.
Yeah.
And like I said, God bless them. We're all in the same boat, so.
Yeah, there's other small little areas too that, so.
Granite Lake also had some homes, so where that fire turned, went east, turned south, we're aware. But where Avista is working now, we're coming in behind Avista with the loggers, and the meticulous work is in those neighborhoods where all the houses are close together, or we're close together, and getting those trees out so we can get the debris and then move on to the acreage. So
The only reason I brought that up is because, Cheney, Medical Lake, Four Lakes, Silver Lake, we're all family.
yes, sir.
We're a pretty strong community,
Yes, sir.
and,
We'll get there.
we're trying to be as patient as we can.
Okay.
That's one thing you're gonna have to have, because
It is.
We're not
Remember,
professionals at this.
we're just volunteers in the community. You know, the city of Medical Lake is only acting as a coordinator and I'm, you know, trying to lead from this side, but just know you're not forgotten. We know. And help is coming. It's going to take time. And working with the Washington State Long-Term Recovery Group, they tell us it's amazing what's happening here and in Oregon Road. It's never happened this fast in any other fire they've had in Washington State, the recovery and the committees and the work. And so when it's your 6 weeks and every day you're not in your home and nothing's happening, every day is eternity. But in government and response work, 6 weeks is a day. So please be patient. We are really pushing as hard as we can and everybody is working on this every day for you. So I just want to assure you of that. Anything else then for these folks, because we do have people that I want to connect you with out in the lobby. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, CJ. Yeah, if you have an immediate need, as I said, Salvation Army, that contract was just signed. Those case managers will be reaching out to you and they're going to be identifying what are your needs, were you insured, not insured, what's the urgency, and that case manager will work with you to develop a long-term recovery plan and they'll stick with you until that plan is done. So some will take years. And so, but we're hoping this is going to be much faster than that. But just so you know, those case managers are going to be, they're deployed already and should be contacting you. Outside the door to the left is a table, and that is to address immediate needs. So if you want to volunteer to help, sign up the volunteer form. If you haven't yet signed up the form, it's called the disaster intake form. Even if you are insured, please sign that and keep your receipts, because as funding comes in and becomes available, we're still pushing, you know, to take this to the president, get some FEMA support, but that's the long game. So right now, let's just continue to move forward. But so if you have an immediate need, stop there. Shelter, food, clothing, you need gas to get to work, any of those things, please stop and talk to the folks at the table on the left there. And there's little signs. We also have financial folks here. And so that table against the back wall, they can talk to you about construction loans, refinancing if you had damaged property and, you know, are now having to repair that, your insurance didn't cover it. And then they have some other gap funding, financial guidance that they can give you. So the folks out here against the wall, straight ahead when you walk out, check in with them and whatever questions you may have about how you're rebuilding, they're here to answer those kinds of questions.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just a question. I said it was my last question, but you brought up.
I'll give you one more.
Okay, thank you. So you brought up FEMA, right? And so I heard from an individual, no names, that Medical Lake does not qualify for FEMA because we did not have enough people sign up. Is that correct?
That's partially correct. So we do not qualify. The question was, he said he heard that Medical Lake didn't qualify for FEMA because enough people didn't sign up. Not true. FEMA is based on, there's a public assistance, there's an individual assistance. The public assistance comes first. Public assistance means public property was destroyed, like a city hall, a fire station, a school, those kinds of things. And the threshold is 37 million. We lost no public infrastructure per se. We lost some things through the park and some poles and had some streets impacted and that kind of thing, but we haven't reached the 37 million. Even combining the two fires, we have not reached 37 million. The individual assistance follows. The reason that we're still kind of holding out for that is the president has discretion to award FEMA even if you don't reach the 37 million. So people in the state are working on that and we'll probably make that ask. And you know, the answer is yes or no. Why do we need a yes or no answer if we already know we haven't met the threshold? is because once the president makes a decision, yes or no, that releases other funds, like, the Small Business Association, who can give private loans at low interest, to help people rebuild. So it's all progressive. It comes in stages. And so that's the answer on FEMA. No, we don't qualify. We don't expect to get it, but you never know.
We've already gotten an account involved on this, and really in part it comes down to legal terminology. Because in our state, this was declared an extended emergency and not a federal disaster area.
Correct. So what's been declared was,
It's extended
excuse
emergency,
me.
you're not qualified. It's gonna affect a lot of summer taxes. So hold on to your receipts.
So, correct, as we already stated. So the other thing on that too is there is a form out on the table where you can have reduced property taxes for 3 years. It's important you fill that out before you start to rebuild. You must submit that to the county before you start to rebuild. And that's everyone city limits or outside of the city limits. So the form is out there. Be sure you fill that out. And it will be based on the value of the property as it stands today. So if it was a total loss or the assessor will make that determination, but it will give you a reduced tax. And they'll get in touch with you after you turn that in. So just be sure you do that.
Clarify that, please. Okay, rebuild or just bring another manufactured home?
All I know is it'll be based on the value of the home today, the value of the property when you submit the application. So anything beyond that, you'll want to clarify with their agency because I don't know, but we have the form, it's out there. Everyone should fill that out and turn it in and take advantage of that reduced property tax for the next 3 years. Focus, yes.
Do they know how long it's gonna take? And I also heard that we're supposed to get taxes that we paid back.
So you'll have to contact the assessor's office for any tax information beyond that. That's all I can tell you is to encourage you to fill out the form and hear it from them. If it becomes a big issue, we can also have someone from the assessor's office come to one of these meetings. Yes, ma'am.
I can talk to my those. We filled ours out a month ago and just got a letter to one of our plots. So it takes about a month.
Okay, so the response from someone from the audience was they did that process about a month ago and it took about a month. So, but 366 homes in the county. So if everyone starts filling those out before they rebuild, it may take longer, I would guess. The other quick things then, other resources available. We have some builders outside also. If you want to talk about building, there's Dirtworks, people who can help you get the debris off your property. There are staff available, will be here, and the others from the county. We also have Monty from Spokane County Building and Permitting, and out on the table is a fee schedule. So remember when we talked about permitting last time, and we kind of gave you an estimate of what it would be for an average size home in Medical Lake. We don't have the complexity of things that the county has. So Monty has brought a packet of fees with the fee schedule out there to help you kind of understand that. And then he is here also to ask questions. So that's another resource here today. Be sure you sign up for the tree removal if you haven't done so. Be sure you sign up for the long-term recovery disaster assistance form if you haven't done so. If you have, we have your information. Also out on the table is the press release. It will tell you exactly what Medical Lake is doing, what Avista is doing, and what DNR is doing. And that is specific to the Gray Road fire. So I wanted to give that to you. And then on the back of the agenda tonight, if you want to pick one up on your way out, it talks about where people can make donations. It also notes there's no meeting October 11th or October 18th. The school district has other things planned in this room for 2 weeks. So we're going to take that 2-week break. It's also going to give us a chance to get that tree removal business kind of rolling. And then we'll come back on October 25th and see where we're at. There, and then there's some other contact information on how to get help. So that's on this agenda, and there's about 50 of them out there on the table. So I want to let you go so you can go talk to the folks. Also, there is some donated new clothing out there to the left. And so be sure that you take a little shopping spree on your way out. So any final questions then, and we'll call this good for tonight, at least for this part. Anything else? All right, thank you all for your patience. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Anything online? I'm sorry.